dive into your mailbag questions in a second. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get on the show. My name is Harrison Graham. You are watching Bears Now. But I wanted to hit this first. Bill Belichick, who very well could be on the hot seat in New England. In fact, a report came out on Thursday that from Albert Breer that there's been discussions behind the scenes of potential exit strategies from Robert Kraft to move on from Belichick. We'll see what happens. So betting odds are already out, and Bears fans are asking me, so let's talk about it. If Belichick gets fired from New England, the Commanders are the favorites to hire him because Ron Rivera might get fired, and then the Bears are second because Matt Eberflus might get fired. You got the Chargers, Raiders, and Titans in there as well. I just have so many thoughts about this, and really my main one is I'm actually not interested. And I know people will hit me up in the comments, the DMs, are you insane? He's won 6 Super Bowls. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest coach there is. Like, yes, I respect what Bill Belichick has done. But a couple of things, and I'm not even Mr. Brady made Belichick guy. Like, I'm not even saying that. But I do think it's noteworthy that without Tom Brady, he's a below 500 coach. And I think more relevant is recently, right? Like, since Tom Brady has left, Bill Belichick and the Patriots have made the playoffs once as a wild card team and have otherwise at times looked inept. Now, I expect Matt Eberflus to be gone. I do. But Bill Belichick is 71 years old, and bottom line, I don't trust him to figure out offense. Like, I don't trust him to hire a good coordinator. He has not been able to do that the last couple of years, and Mac Jones has fallen off a cliff partially because of it. Now, if Bill Belichick wants to only run a defense and be a defensive coordinator, I think he can still do that. I think he can still evaluate defensive talent, but Bill Belichick is not saving the Bears. I hate to break it to you. Like, I'm not saying I would take Flus over him. Like, if it's Flus or Belichick, I'm obviously taking Belichick. I still think Belichick is a decent coach, but, like, even if he works out fairly well here, like, how long is he here? 4 or 5 years tops? He'll be 72 next year. Like, you don't want Bill Belichick. I know that sounds crazy, Bears fans. You don't want Bill Belichick. I don't want Bill Belichick. I'll let you guys decide. Would you hire him or would you pass on him? I'm not hiring Bill Belichick. That's not the answer, man. He is not the answer to the Bears' problems. And believe me, there's a lot of them. H for hire, P for pass. Penn comment on today's show. Would you hire Bill Belichick? All right, let's get to your questions here. From Turtle, hashtag Bears or Super Chat, thoughts on a blockbuster trade for Brian Burns. We talked about this recently on the show. I'm not giving up either of my first-round picks for him. So if that's what it's going to take, I'm not doing it. I just think you need to enter this offseason with that flexibility. But if there's some kind of package where you can trade, 2 seconds, one this year, maybe you give Carolina their 2025 second back, I could get open to that because you could pay him and you have your young pass rusher for the future. But I'm not trading one of my 2 first-rounders right now. Brendan Henderson, what's the probability that Caleb Williams pulls an Eli Manning on the Bears? I actually don't think very high. The pros of being a quarterback in Chicago. 1, you're going to get endorsement deals. Justin Fields is very much an unknown still. Reebok hired him to be the face of their football department as they kind of relaunched. Think about that. That's pretty impressive. Fields is all over commercials, especially in the Chicago area. Very marketable guy. And if you're Caleb Williams, who's a pretty cocky guy, by the way, the appeal of having a chance to save the Bears, if you will, I would think is very appealing. I don't buy the idea that has been, kind of loosely mentioned by his dad, depending on the team, we might just come back to USC. I'll call your bluff. I don't think he's going to do it. So I think there's more reasons than not to want to be the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Let's talk about today's sponsor. That is Factor, America's ready-to-eat meal kit, as they will deliver delicious and healthy meals straight to your store that you can pick from their 30-plus chef options, which a ton of them are delicious, as I have been running through their different meals here. If you're too busy to cook this fall, well, that's where Factor comes into play. Maybe you're like me, you got a 6-month-old at home, and sometimes it's hard to find the time to go shopping, spend a lot of hours in the kitchen, and cook something up. Well, Factor Meals, they prepare the meals for you, and they deliver them to your doorstep, and then it just takes like a couple minutes to finish the preparation, and you can eat and enjoy. They've got calorie-conscious options. They have gourmet plus options if you want to really go upscale with those different lunch and dinner options. Also, they have lunch on the go. Maybe you travel for work, you don't have access to a microwave. You can get wholesome meals like grain bowls, salad toppers. They even have some smoothies as well. Go check out Factor Meals. You are not going to be disappointed. FactorMeals.com/BearsChat50. Use our code BearsChat50 to get 50% off at checkout. It is code BearsChat50 at FactorMeals.com/BearsChat50. Effortless, easy, delicious meals delivered straight to your doorstep. Get started today. Link and promo code in the description and comments of this video. From our guy, F. Marsh, could the Bears sign Kirk Cousins next offseason? Like Bill Belichick, I don't think Kirk Cousins is saving the Bears either. Now, Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. He is. Now, I think there's a clear ceiling there and how far you can go with Kirk Cousins. Now, you look at his next team odds here. The Bears come in 6th best odds at plus 800 behind the Patriots, Commanders, Titans, Steelers, and the Arizona Cardinals. But Kirk Cousins, he's going to be 35, I think, next year. He's put up great numbers this year for Minnesota. Like, they should be better than their 2-4 record. There's no doubt about it. He's at or near the top of the league in most categories. High completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, passer rating. He's good, man. He's a good player. But is Kirk Cousins coming in here with this roster currently constructed and winning the division? I don't think so. Like, I'm not interested. Like, I'd rather keep Fields and keep trying to develop him. I'd rather draft a quarterback. Like, Kirk Cousins, I think his ceiling with a not perfect roster, like AKA not a San Francisco or Philadelphia, for example, is probably the divisional round. I don't think you're getting further than that. And look, that sounds great right now, right? Because the Bears have not been in the playoffs much in recent years, and they certainly haven't been winning playoff games, but he's won one playoff game in his career, and the Vikings have had better rosters than the Bears. So I'm not interested. I'll be very curious to see where he goes, because I do think he's going to leave Minnesota probably, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. How would you feel about having Kirk Cousins next year? G for good, B for bad? Now, if it's like a one-year deal, like if you're stuck in between in some scenario, like maybe, but like I don't see that scenario existing, like because you could just keep Justin Fields, who's still under contract. So G for good, B for bad. Let me know what you guys think. No Palencia. Honestly, fellas, once this organization bulks up the O-line, then I'm convinced they're going in the right direction. Games are won in the trenches. That's the thing, too. Like, you put Kirk behind this O-line right now, I think you're going to be in trouble. Yeah, you got to get better in the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line, both units got to improve. I think the O-line, when healthy this year, is decent-ish on paper, but there's still a player or two to go, especially center. I mean, center's just an embarrassment. I mean, they can't even snap the goddamn football. Like, it's ridiculous, but you got to beef up the trenches. There's no doubt. Brendan, hot take, 2025, draft Drew Allar instead of Caleb Williams in 2024. Yeah, there's a lot of hype around Drew Allar, and look, you could throw Shedeur Sanders in there as well. Here's the thing, though, Brendan. I think, are you banking on having another top 3 to 5 pick in 2025? That's something to consider as well, because, look, if you go the route where you trade the number 1 pick, get a bunch of pieces, like there's really no reason that the Bears wouldn't at least be somewhat competitive next year, even if Fields is up and down. Like, that should have been the case this year, but you've had a ton of injuries, and you've lost some close games. And look, in certain areas, you just aren't there yet. But I think another offseason goes by. If you use the number 1 or number 2 pick, trade it for other assets, sign some players, then you'll probably be competitive-ish. And then if Fields isn't the guy, you're probably not picking high enough to get a quarterback. So that's the dilemma I think Ryan Poles is going to face this offseason. Hit that subscribe button when Bears news drops. We're going to have you covered here on this show, so don't miss out. Turn on the notifications. Trade deadline just around the corner. We'll have you covered for all those moves as well. Chicago Bears Now, your home for Bears content on YouTube. Donovan Walker, hey man, just wondering if you saw the video of Caleb. Suggest you go watch a lot of red flags. If you're talking about the clip about the Notre Dame fan that ran on him, look, he's incredibly cocky. He just is. I I do think it's too much sometimes. He's not a perfect prospect. I do think he's arrogant, but I also think he's good. Do I know if he's going to work out? I don't know. I'm just putting myself in Ryan Poles' headspace. If he gets the number 1 pick, I think he's going to draft Caleb Williams. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. Time will tell. Carlos Ayala, if you re-sign Darnell Mooney, is Marvin Harrison your wide receiver 2 or 3? If Mooney becomes 3, would he be worth re-signing? Depends on price. And to be clear, Mooney would become your 3 behind DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison. Quite frankly, Harrison could unseat DJ Moore in a couple years potentially. That's how good of a prospect he is. Now, I do not think that would be the case as a rookie. DJ Moore has been terrific this year. But think about how good Mooney is like a pure 3. Like, he's just working the slot, like some occasional double moves downfield. Like, if you could get him at 10 to 12 mil or less per year, like 2 or 3 year deal, and then by the time that contract's up, you're paying Marvin Harrison, I'd be all in for that. Mike Nintendo Master, who would you choose to be the next head coach? Ben Johnson, Jim Harbaugh, Dan Quinn? I would probably, at this exact moment, I would probably go Harbaugh 1, Johnson 2, Quinn 3. Now, Johnson, I think, in a lot of ways is more intriguing than Harbaugh. But how many awesome coordinators have we seen not be good as head coaches? Now, you have to hire those guys because proven head coaches aren't there all the time. That's the intrigue with Harbaugh, though. He is a proven head coach. He's 44-19 in the NFL. And it's not like, look, Colin Kaepernick had some nice years. It's not like he ever had a superstar quarterback, though. He had Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick with the Niners and almost won a Super Bowl. Pretty damn impressive, man. If you get him like a real top 10 caliber quarterback, you know he's going to bring in a good staff. Like, that's a question, too, with like a guy like Ben Johnson. Who's he bringing in for his staff? I don't know. Maybe he's bringing an awesome staff. I have no idea. But he's never been a head coach before. That's some appeal with Dan Quinn, too, is like he has been a head coach. He is well-connected. I just would rather go offensive-minded, but I'm not opposed to Quinn either. He'd be a fallback option for me. Ron Pandy, do you think the Bears have a chance with Garoppolo out this week, even with Bajan? I think they have a chance because I don't think the Raiders are that good of a football team. I know they're 3-3 and they're playing better. I would lean Vegas, though, because the Bears' O-line is really banged up, and Max Crosby is unbelievable. Like, he might win this game by himself if Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones don't play, which it's looking like that's a possibility. So, a chance, yeah, great chance. Probably not. It's probably going to be low scoring, if we're being honest. All right, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at HGramNFL. If we didn't get to your questions, you can hit me up over there on social media at HGramNFL. We'll see you over there with more of your questions.